Okay, so let's carry on from our story from yesterday, as there were a few developments since the video was published. We were, of course, talking about the massive short squeeze around the GameStop stocks, where the Reddit community, Wall Street Bets, have been buying it at just a staggering rate, and the hedge funds such as Melvin Capital and ultimately owned by Citadel have lost billions of dollars when they were naked shorting the stock. Naked shorting, of course, means selling shares that don't really exist, as in they're selling more shares that are in the market at the moment, and they're getting absolutely wrecked. Now, the big news here is that Robinhood, the platform with which the traders from Wall Street Bets were buying their GME shares, has stopped any more buys on that, on BlackBerry, or any of the other companies and share tickers that have been identified by the Wall Street Bets as potential long positions. Now, this clearly is massive market manipulation, especially bearing in mind that Robinhood gets much of its money from Citadel by selling it volume data about its users' buys and sells, and Citadel owns Melvin Capital, which is the hedge fund in question, and the hedge fund that has lost billions and billions of dollars betting against GameStop and getting against the legion of retail investors that have been buying its shares. Now, it doesn't surprise me when it comes down to it that Robinhood are choosing its rich donors and investors, and it's kind of insider relationships over its customer base. It's public information that it has this deal selling volume data to Citadel, and anybody that, 5 minutes of looking into it, you can see that Citadel owns Melvin, and Melvin are the company that are losing the most money. But so really, users of Robinhood should know that Robinhood, while they're maybe making money from it, is certainly not on their side. As a kind of counterattack to this clear manipulation, the legion of retail investors have started giving the app on the App Store and Play Store 1-star reviews, which is totally within their right to do if they're using the app and the app or the company Robinhood does something wrong and that the people feel that they've been mistreated, then they're totally within their right to give them a 1-star review. And Google have already removed 100,000 1-star reviews from the Play Store. Again, this is some form of manipulation and more evidence that we have big business and big tech all working together to basically screw the little guy, or at least when the little guy has an edge over the big boys, they just come down together. They work together and screw us all. This is not new. We've known about this for a long time. It's the same old tactics. Today, though, I want to focus my wrath on the Financial Times newspaper, which is just a trash magazine at this point, spouting ill-informed opinions. Most of the writers seem completely uninformed, probably intern staff writers. But let's go to this article in particular. Now, this article has been doing the rounds on Twitter and Reddit and other places, not because it's been written well or because it's any kind of good journalism or anything like that, because it's a continuation of a pattern of misinformation and mischaracterization that the mass media love to play in. So, now the reason why this caught my attention was because the Financial Times really tried to muddy and destroy the character of these investors and traders on Wall Street Bets to make them appear to be some kind of alt-right fascist and Nazis. The old boogeymen that we've been hearing for the last 4 or 5 years. Anybody that has a problem with the establishment, anybody that thinks big tech is too powerful and too closely connected to politics and government, you are, of course, an alt-right pig. Because the word really doesn't mean far right or anything like that anymore. It just means that you kind of have your own opinions, and those opinions are inconvenient to the power and the status quo. Now, thankfully, and wisely, the Financial Times did print a retraction and said that they had made a mistake when they characterized Wall Street Bets as somebody where the alt-right hang out and live and, do the nefarious Nazi things, of course. It's all nonsense. Wall Street Bets is largely apolitical unless your political position is to only support billionaires. Now, let's have a look at this article, and we'll have a look at the retraction too, because they still have some pretty, it's just a crap it's a crap garbage article. It would be tempting for market professionals to dismiss the Reddit bros as dumb money and their frenzied buying as a Ponzi scheme. Instead, this is a cautionary tale of how social medias can be co-opted to attack the financial establishment. Reddit may be changing Wall Street in the way that Twitter and Facebook have changed politics. Well, I think Reddit may be doing that, but Twitter and Facebook have changed politics, but not necessarily for the good. If anything, since Twitter and Facebook have been fused with the political discourse, it's just divided us more than anything else. The server of the Wall Street Bets message board, used by many of the retail investors, has meanwhile been banned by the chat app Discord for hate speech and glorifying violence, according to the statements published by the Verge tech website. Again, alt-right, hate speech, these are all words that people use, the establishment and the media use to shut the conversation up, to mischaracterize the people that they're talking about, and confuse the issue, basically. A casual reader of this, who's maybe a sort of a low information reader, may see this and suddenly dismiss what's going on, a really beautiful thing that's going on in Wall Street Bets and their kind of battle against the big hedge funds and financiers, as something that is slightly nefarious. It's been likened to gambling and Ponzi schemes, and these are the trigger words that basically just say, stay away. Now, the Financial Times did have to print a retraction. This article was changed after publication to remove a speculative reference to the US alt-right, and to clarify that the server of Wall Street Bets message board has reportedly been banned by the chat app Discord for hate speech. So they're saying that they're sorry for calling the millions of people on Wall Street Bets alt-right, and good, I'm glad they did that, but they're maintaining that the Discord has been banned for hate speech. And indeed, that is the reason that was given for the Discord being shut down, because what other label are they going to put on this? We're censoring this because our friends are losing loads of money, so we're going to stop this? No, of course. If they were to do that, at least they'll be honest. But to say that these investors are some kind of dealing in hate speech is just completely nonsense. The concept creep of these words, if it wasn't so harmful to ordinary people, it would really be laughable. But another great thing to come from this kind of mini war that's going on Reddit is how it's bringing people together from all sides of the political spectrum. We have had a terrible time really over the last 4 or 5 years. We've been divided on so many issues. We're divided on culture and sociology and our political views. It's been tearing friendship groups apart. People who there's almost been a hatred between the two political sides on the left and the right. And when you have people like AOC and Ben Shapiro agreeing on something, I really thought that the universe would just stop then. That's it. It's the kind of game over. To start all over again. I thought this was the glitch in the Matrix that might suddenly break the universe. You really have to fuck up when you have both conservatives and progressives targeting you and saying what you're doing is not right. And these people are just doubling down with their garbage articles that just lie and mischaracterize what is essentially a beautiful thing going on. And it's just great that after 4 or 5 years of society and our culture and the people that have been divided on so many levels, we can all come together and at least see, hang on a minute, this is a good thing. And we can clearly see that the only people complaining about it are the super, super rich, and it's quite obvious that the media are not our friends. In fact, the media hold us with just complete contempt, and they're losing their mind right now. Have known half of the country and the world maybe have known that the media is incredibly biased towards discrediting people they don't like and promoting people that they do like. But now the mask has been lifted for everybody. It's quite obvious. Financial Times doesn't like you, doesn't care about us. It is representing the interests of Wall Street. It's not to inform people about what's going on Wall Street. It's to further the status quo. And it's all, the veil is falling. And these organizations just look more and more biased and enfeebled. I honestly don't know who reads this stuff. I want to compare and contrast this article, this garbage article written by probably an intern staff writer who's been told to do a hit job on these Reddit traders. Okay, so let's compare and contrast this characterization of what's going on in the markets at the moment with my favorite, or one of my favorite investors anyway, Chamath Palihapitiya.
Next guest, he tweeted on Tuesday that he'd gone long through call options. Chamath Palihapitiya is the CEO of Social Capital. He joins us now on the phone. Chamath, thank you for being here.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So you tweeted yesterday that you bought $115 calls in GameStop. Can you tell me what your position is as of this very moment?
Yeah. Can I tell you a little story before all of that, or no?
Why don't you tell me that first, and then we'll go from there.
So this morning I woke up after spending all last night in Wall Street bets, reading about all of this stuff. I ended up closing up my position this morning, and I wanted to announce that I'm taking all the profits that I made, plus my original position. So I'm going to take $500,000. And I'm going to donate to the Barstool Fund for Small Businesses. But I really want to tell you, beyond the $500,000 donation or the money that I invested, which was, not a huge amount in the grand scheme of that stock or the entire market, what I learned, because I think what I learned over the last couple of days is important for everybody that's watching CNBC.
And that is?
I think that what you're seeing is essentially a pushback against the establishment in a really important way. You have a lot of people, and I would encourage anybody who is dismissive of this thing to go into Wall Street Bets and actually just read the forums. And I think that you're going to see three kinds of posts. The first kind of content are a lot of people doing some incredible fundamental diligence on companies, trying to think about long-term value. And in my opinion, many of them are doing as good and, frankly, a better job than a lot of hedge fund analysts that I work with. That's number one. The second are a lot of people who believe that, coming out of 2008, what happened was Wall Street took an enormous amount of risk, and they left retail as the bag holder. And a lot of these kids were in grade school and high school when that happened. They lost their homes. Their parents lost their jobs. And they've always wondered, why did those folks get bailed out for taking enormous amounts of risk and nobody helped and showed up to help my family? And then the third thing is a realization that instead of having idea dinners or, quiet whispered conversations amongst hedge funds in the Hamptons, these kids have the courage to do it transparently in a forum. And I'm not saying all of it is perfect by any means. But I think it takes an enormous amount of faith in the system to be that transparent, to talk about things, and then for each individual to make their own mind up and to do things, whether it's to buy and to sell.
So as you can see, it couldn't really be much different. These people are in the establishment anyway. They know better than anyone else how much contempt Wall Street has for Main Street, and to hear them come out in support of the people. In fact, it's not even in support of the people. It's in support of what is right. To hear them do that is a wonderful thing, really. And it really comes down to a decision now where people are going to start getting their information. These legacy media companies are just dying. I'm honestly shocked people still pay for the information. It's quite clear that you can get far, far better and relevant and less biased information when you crowdsource it from places like Reddit, when you're listening to genuine financial savants like Chamath, compared to these garbage articles like this from the Financial Times that is not designed to inform you. It's meant to stop you from looking any further, shut down any further inquiry, and get it into your brain somehow that what is going on Reddit is a Ponzi scheme, it's something to connect it to Trump, it's an alt-right thing, it's an Nazis, trying to manipulate you into thinking that somehow there's Hitler in Wall Street Bets Reddit, trying to finally take down America with his army of Reddit bros. Okay, so this is the Bitcoin briefing, and we've departed for a few days from our usual topic to discuss this, because really this whole GameStop story and Wall Street Bets represents the same thing. You know, people are getting involved in Bitcoin for the same reasons that people are buying these shares. It is about bringing power back from the large corporations and the establishment back to the people, so people can start trading and learning and investing and taking financial responsibility and financial sovereignty and back into their hands, away from people that do not have their best interests at heart. And just like what happens with Bitcoin, the media and social media are doing all they can with the tools that they have, namely censorship and restricting access, and then kind of like trashing people's characters with words like alt-right and Nazi and Ponzi schemes and, you know, any other pejorative, any other bad words. Do anything to make you shut up and stop thinking for yourself, and just be good little boys and girls and work hard and put your money in the bank savings account at no interest and let your whole wealth just inflate away, so you'll always be on this hamster wheel of inflation. If you like this show, we'll be having another one tomorrow and every single day. It would be really, really grateful if you could support me by just, you know, give it a like and subscribe. It's a new channel, and it really would help the channel to grow and more people to visit and see this content. So if you could do that, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks very much. See you tomorrow.